nature. Nemesis would be, according to this article, a dark little star, perhaps a brown dwarf, with a more distant orbit than Pluto's. A binary star is a star system consisting of two stars orbiting each other around a common center of mass. Recent studies suggest that a high percentage of stars are part of systems of at least two stars. It is estimated that approximately one-third of the star systems in the Milky Way are binary or multiple, and the remaining two-thirds consist of individual stars. There is a direct correlation between the period of revolution of a binary star and the eccentricity of its orbit. In the case of the Sun and Nemesis, this eccentricity would be very large, with an orbital period of 2,800 years. Nemesis would be a brown dwarf, not a sufficiently massive star to maintain continuous nuclear hydrogen fusion reactions in its core. Unlike the stars of the main sequence, brown dwarfs occupy the mass range between the heavier gaseous giants and lighter stars. The differences between a brown dwarf and gas giant planets are minimal. Despite its name, brown dwarfs are of different colors. Many brown dwarfs are magenta, orange and also red for the human eye. Brown dwarfs are not very bright, and the low energy emission from these stars blocks direct observation from great distances. Despite this, several hundred brown dwarfs have been identified, with surface temperatures ranging between 800 and 2000 degrees Celsius. Its surface temperature is an increasing function with the mass and decreasing with the age of the object. In 1983, the infrared astronomical satellite IRIS makes a startling discovery. IRIS scientists say they have detected a large object in the deep reaches of the solar system. This article appears in the Washington Post. A large celestial body as large as the giant planet Jupiter and so close to Earth that would be part of this solar system has been found in the direction of the Orion constellation. The discovery was made by an orbiting telescope aboard USA infrared astronomical satellite IRIS. So mysterious is the object that astronomers do not know whether it is a planet, a giant comet or a nearby protostar that never got hot enough to become a star. The most fascinating explanation for this mysterious body is that it is so cold that it casts no light, and has never been seen by optical telescopes despite being a gas giant as large as Jupiter and being so near Earth. So close, in fact, that would be the body closest to Earth beyond the most distant planet Pluto. Among all that has been said about Nemesis, comments also appear on a mysterious planet called Nibiru. Is there any connection between them? It seems so, and both may be the same celestial body. While the Babylonians referred to Nibiru as the transition point, this would be nothing more than the effect produced by the passage of Nemesis, since its influence would cause all kind of events on volcanoes, tides, climate and global temperatures seriously affecting the human population. Nibiru would have been mistranslated and actually mean change of era. Nothing would be the same after the pass of Nemesis. We have previously discussed the cyclical changes in the Earth each 2,800 years. The last change was in the year 0 of the Christian era, and now all dates refer to the birth of Jesus Christ. In the year 2800 BC came the Great Flood in Mesopotamia, and new Sumerian and Egyptian dynasties appear. It reoccurs an important change of era, and in 5600 BC the Black Sea flood takes place, and many scholars associate this event with the disappearance of Atlantis. In 8400 BC the Ice Age ends and occurs the beginning of the Neolithic. And so it seems that every 2,800 years supernatural or destructive events take place. Following this line of reasoning, in the year 2800 of our era will come the influence of Nemesis, and everything will change. What will happen in this state? Surely after this nothing will be the same. Zecharia Sitchin was the first to notice that cyclical changes occur in the world, and that some external agent influenced the development of human civilization. He linked these changes with Nibiru and the Anunnaki gods. With every change of era for some reason appear these supernatural beings. Anunnaki seems to mean those who came from heaven. Sitchin, however, assumed that the orbital period of Nemesis was 3,600 years, but I do not think this had scientific support and was more like a guess. I insist that the orbital period of Nemesis or Nibiru would be about 2,800 years and would be a brown dwarf sister of the Sun, which together form a binary system. We can assume that its mass would be similar to that of Jupiter, perhaps a little bigger. Very low temperature and luminosity, and would be returning in its highly elliptical orbit around the Sun in Sagittarius by rotating in opposite direction to that of the planets in the solar system. In 800 years would reach the Sun proximity, passing in front of it, leaving behind a tail like a comet, turning around and returning to the far reaches of the solar system. When doing this, the solar winds would give Nemesis the effect of having horns ahead. This would explain many of the legends and drawings that have survived to this phenomenon. Other theories talk about a different phenomenon that takes place after millions of years. This has no scientific support, for the elliptical orbit would be so large that the gravitational attraction between the two celestial bodies would be lost. This could be celestial bodies that pass near the Sun randomly, or maybe long-term effects of the pass of Nemesis. Also have no support the dissemination of impending cataclysms. The end of the world will not happen tomorrow or next year. I reiterate that the calculations indicate that the next change of era will occur in no less than 8 centuries. Anyway, if confirmed, this theory implies a serious warning for our civilization. Will this be the announced apocalypse? It seems so. The mysterious underground cities of Cappadocia in Turkey that nobody knows for sure its purpose can be shelters to survive this phenomenon. It is known that in these cities could live thousands of people for a certain time, had doors that closed from the inside to keep out unwanted visitors, and had ventilation, water and storage space for food and animals. Are these underground bunkers designed to survive for weeks if not months? Are the great powers planning something similar? Surely yes. When the Magi mentioned in the Bible come to Jerusalem to seek for the king who was born, follow the Star of Bethlehem. Somehow they knew that this star would pass through the firmament on that date. As every 2,800 years. Somehow these priests who have left the Persian city of Sial already knew that this important event and that great things were about to happen. It seems that the Star of Bethlehem is the same as Nemesis, and although in his last step near Earth nothing bad seems to have happened, there is no guarantee of what may happen or not in 8 more centuries. It also appears that since ancient times Nemesis has been associated with the origins of religion, and is heard that the Vatican has important information not yet publicly released. Does the Vatican know that the end of the world will happen on a more or less accurate date? It has been said that the revelations of the Virgin in various parts of the world indicate so. Vatican evasions and elliptical responses from previous popes on this subject do nothing but arouse suspicion. The Nazis also knew something about Nemesis, which they called Black Sun. The Black Sun is an ancient symbol of the Germanic peoples, representing the day of the end of the world and the battle of the gods against the giants. At the time of Hitler, it was said that the Third Reich was preparing for the arrival of a messiah to a new world order dominated by the Aryan race. This empire would lasted more than Rome itself, at least 1,000 years. Originally, the Black Sun was part of a series of Nazi occult beliefs, promoted by the leaders of the SS. Of these ideological currents finally emerged a mystical current, almost a religion. Within these beliefs, the Black Sun represented a hidden sun, the giver of wisdom, providing superior force to the Aryan race. Did the Nazis know that Nemesis existed and that its path close to the Earth had supernatural effects? It seems that yes. on the assumption that the orbital period of Nemesis is 2,800 years and that its mass is 3 times larger than Jupiter. We can apply the laws of celestial mechanics to determine the sum of the major axis of the orbit of the binary system. This value is none other than the maximum distance between the Sun and Nemesis. Of the calculations results that this distance would be only 450 astronomical units. As this binary system orbits around the same centroid, we come to the alarming conclusion that the minimum distance is much lower, passing Nemesis at just 1.5 astronomical units from the Sun. This means that a celestial body 3 times larger than Jupiter will pass in a similar orbit than Mars. This would confirm that in ancient times existed a planet between Mars and Jupiter, called Tiamat, possibly destroyed in a collision with Nemesis. In this sector is currently situated the asteroid belt. In the first part of the 6th chapter of Revelation speaks of a scroll in the right hand of God that is sealed with 7 seals. In that scenario, Jesus opens the first 4 seals out of the 7, freeing these horsemen riding a white, a red, a black and a bay horse. There are different interpretations of what each color means, though I will give my own. The white horse means that polar wave over the entire planet will freeze land and water. The red horse means that volcanoes will spit lava. The black horse means that befall a time of darkness and that sunlight will not be visible, and the bay horse means that there will always be a new dawn for humanity. This is why changes of era occur.
Good evening everyone, it's Matthew. Timestamp is now 7:23 PM and we're now at the 30th of March 2017, and I've now got this old newspaper cutting, and let's not forget this. A lot of us now that study in the skies and looking into Nibiru and the Brandewall star have seen this piece of footage many years ago, and here it reads as well: possibly as large as Jupiter, mystery heavenly body object. Discovered. A heavenly body possible as large as the planet Jupiter and possibly so close to Earth that it would be part of our solar system, has been found in the direction of the constellation Orion by the orbiting telescope aboard the US infrared astronomical satellite. So mysterious is this object that astronomers do not know if it is a planet, a giant comet, or nearby protostar that never got hot enough to become a star, a distant galaxy so young that it's still in process of forming its first stars, or a galaxy so shrouded in dust that none of the light cast by its stars ever gets through. All I have to tell you is that we don't know what it is, said Dr. Jerry Newmanger, IRIS Chief Scientist of California Jet Propulsion Laboratory and Director of the Polymer Observatory for the California Institute of Technology, said in his interview, "The most fascinating explanation of this mysterious body, which is so cold it casts no light and has never been seen by optical telescopes on Earth or in space, is that it is a giant gaseous giant planet as large as Jupiter and as close to Earth as 50 billion miles away. While that may seem like a giant, great distance in earthbound terms, it is a stone throw away in cosmological terms. So close, in fact, that it would be the nearest heavenly body to Earth beyond the outermost planet Pluto. If it is really that close, it would be part of our solar system," said Dr. James Hook of Cornell University Center of Radio Physics. See, the thing is, this object must be a lot more closer, because we're getting all these asteroids from a certain part of the outer solar system, and they are much more intense now. We're getting lots of activity from asteroids and comets, and they're tracking it now. They really are. So let's go and check some webcam footage and see what we can find. See, space is huge, isn't it? The inner and outer solar system. And on these cams, we're picking up red reflections above those clouds and then chemtrails. And also you can see the Earth's wobble if you look carefully between the space station and the Earth in its atmosphere. It's jolting back and forward ever so slightly. And again, there's many other earthquakes that have happened around the world, 125 in the past 24 hours. Here, again, in the UK, it's getting too dark. Dark shadows at 3:30, if you look up into the skies, you will see a dimness of the sun and those grey, hazy clouds. So it's again, just keep tracking everything to see what we can find this thing. Here is another NASA Ustream piece of footage. And again, you can see those pinkish red reflections on them chemtrails mixed with the clouds. You can see in the centre of the image on the Earth, you can see that line of chemtrail as well if you look closely. If they could turn the camera around the other way, we would see the heavenly body with our sun. And that big, huge disk of the simulator that's up there as well. The evidence, they could just do this for us and we would see it, wouldn't we? They won't do it, will they? They would just keep pointing the cam down. You can see those chemtrails so evident on the screen. They are hiding what's going on above in our skies, so we can't get to see any of it. Very red skies. And again, what I just showed you, that newspaper cutting as well about the heavenly body. It's 100% true. They slammed it shut. They closed it down. They didn't want any of the public to know what was going on. So the media are not to say anything. NASA keeps coming out of all these other glamorous stories to make us think that it's other things. And we all know a huge celestial object is slowly heading our way now. So I'm going to go to some of the Mexico cams. Look to see what we can find up in the skies as well first. Here is a live Mexico cam. It's called the non-Terry cam, and this is another image I'd like to show you. It's a live image. You can see the timestamp up there, 8:37, and the seconds are counting upwards. The date there is the 30th. And you can see again, it's just the ground is far too dim, isn't it? I mean, look at the sun image that they've got, that huge object that's in front of our sun. Now, at that time in the morning, it should be bright on the land. You can see it's not, is it? Just showing you that it's very wrong out there now, isn't it? They are hiding our natural sun. And there's other objects that can be seen. It's all being cloaked. To the right side of the screen there, you can see on the sky, it's very, very dark. And this huge gas giant celestial body is being cloaked all the time. Nibiru, Helion, they're always being cloaked now. And the brown dwarf star is right in front of our sun. They've built this simulator. They built it and designed it. They've been doing it for years, from the 1940s and onwards, 50s. This was a huge plan. They know this. The Sumerians have written tablets about this. It was all discovered. And the public are just kept in the dark. This is what they're doing. Hiding us in the dark so we don't get to see anything. We are really in some crazy times now, aren't we? Very crazy times. I've adjusted the cam and moved the cam along a bit, so you've got the 9:32, 9:33. And this is AM, and everywhere else that we know is supposed to be lit up like daylight, and they're just getting a very dim coloured sky. It's always dark over there in Mexico. Switzerland as well, they're getting dark skies. Russia are getting dark skies. Australia's getting dark skies. Huge populated areas are in the darkness right now. You can just see it, can't you, on the screen? It was never like this before. I'm going to move the cam just a bit further so we can see the adjustment of the lightness to see if there's any change. Here again at 10:14 AM, you can see it's still very, very dark. It's maybe a little bit lighter, but it's still hugely dark. If only the government would just be very honest with us and just let us know what's going on. They pulled the veil from what they're hiding, these huge mirrors up there. Then we would all see the object, won't we? Erratic weather all over the world. I'm going to go a bit further on this cam and see what's going on. Here again on this cam, it's still very dim, isn't it? 11:18. Far too dark. I'm going to see what there is on another cam as well, and see if we can zoom in on objects that are up there. Here I'm going to show you on this Patsurico cam in Mexico. I'm going to move the footage so you can see how dark it is through the day on this cam. And their skies are dimming because they're in the shadows of this heavenly body that's lurking out there. And also those chemtrails, they start spraying the sky. So I just want to show you this footage. It's interesting because you can see how dim and dark it is. It's obviously getting lighter because the sun, the simulator, is rising in the skies. Look at the timestamp now. It's now 6:34. You can see those red chems. Again, that orange reflection on the horizon. And again, you can see those strange chemtraily clouds and toxins in the sky. And also, as the sun's rising, you can see on the land, it's just still very, very yellowy dark. That lemon colouring in the skies. It's reflected on the land and the mountains in the background. Just too dark, isn't it, to be in our natural sun? Very red on the ground as well. Those skies and that dark shadow above as well. The timestamp still rises at 8:02, and we're still showing on this cam. It's still very dark. We're very close into April now, aren't we? Last April was a lot lighter than this. So we've got those huge objects that are now travelling on our sun. Some strange skies, just too dark. Again, it's coming up to 9 AM on the timestamp. Can you see how dim it is? And chemtrails, just the natural clouds have disappeared. There's no natural clouds shown on this webcam. Far too dark. I apologise again about the white screens. You can just see that those chems are doing nothing. Look at them. They're just floating up there in the skies and being burnt. I mean, our natural clouds have gone now. There's no natural clouds anymore. The hydrogen has disappeared from them. I'm going to go to another cam now. You can see also on this Plateria de Montes cam in Mexico. Again, look at those unnatural clouds, those chems just below the Earth's atmosphere. It's terrible, isn't it? These toxins that they're spraying all the time. These reflections of them as well. Can you see the blue reflection of this one here? This red haze on the left-hand side. Can't hide this, can they? Let's go through this cam and see what we can find. Okay, this cam's very interesting as well, because when the sun rises, here you'll see this plasma that's coming up. It's so big, it's huge. This plasma's getting much more bigger now in the skies. It used to be quite low. Now it's got much bigger. Watch this on the cam. You'll see as this these huge reflections from these heavenly bodies are coming up. I mean, look at the state of how big the plasma is now. You can see the way it goes up and down. This is because they've got reflections from the gas giants, helium, Nibiru, and also the brown dwarf binary star. You can see our natural sun coming up on the screen now. Again, they widescreen this so we can't get to see other evidence. But on the Mexico cams, they do slip up so we get to see other objects. So we've just got to keep continuously looking at the different cams. Again, you can just see that this is a situation where there's other objects that are being cloaked and hidden from us on the screen. As the simulator kicks in now, can you see this blue reflection that's in front of our sun? Where's the yellow sun gone, may you ask? Because I'm asking the same thing as well. You can see also those clouds that are being burnt away. They're starting throwing those chemicals towards it now. Going right in front of the sun. And they're just being burnt away to the left-hand side. There is another object that's travelling with it, that's blue. Mark my words, this is a real situation. Look at these chemtrails that are basically going in front of our sun and the simulator, and they're just being burnt away. They just want to hide it so we can't see anything. Because at that point in time in the sky, we would see it. There's far too many chemicals being pumped up there now. You can see this on the screen, can't you, as it's going through the time lapse. And again, on the land, it's darker, isn't it? Much, much darker. They're throwing everything as much as the military are throwing everything at it to try and hide it from all the public. I'm going to go down to another cam image. I just want to show you the shadow in the sky on this Mexico cam as well. Just before the sun rises, I've showed you here the timestamp 6:12:05 seconds on the 30th on this webcam Cumariento Plaza cam in Mexico. Here, this is what I would like you to see. This reflection comes into a shadow. It stays there in the same place before the sun rises. I just want you to see this, okay? I'm going to zoom in for you. Okay, what I'm going to do is, this object, its shadow is here, but this object sits here on the horizon. I want you to see this now. Can you see that? This huge object to the right-hand side of the sun. We saw this on cams as well, just before Christmas, on the skyline cams and also the Earth cams. Can you see this? And then the shadow, you can see that, can't you? You can see these chemtrails as well. This huge object. It's that shadow again, isn't it? There it is again. Got to flip through the cam and you can just see this, can't you? And then it fades off. See? Doesn't move anywhere, does it? If I go back. It's just there, isn't it? You can see it just behind those chems. And then it disappears. See? I'm going to get the shadow of it here. Okay, this is a Campeche cam in Central, in Mexico. And I've shown you first the timestamp. And there's something interesting that goes downwards when the sun goes up. So I'm going to show you this and zoom in to this object I believe to be cloaked. Show you this now. Here it is. It's like a very blurred object being cloaked. If I just show you this now, I'll bring it upwards. Can you see this? Here. As we go down. Here it is here. This side piece here. Can you see this? Could be nothing, but the technology they're using these days now, they're hiding many things, aren't they? Here's this image again. And I don't believe the sun is on its own when it goes up, sunrise and sundown. I truly believe that those heavenly bodies are travelling with it now. Again, we've just got to keep going, haven't we? Every time to find what's going on up in the skies. I've got 3 huge monitors with skies of different cams pointing upwards to the skies, north, east and south. And basically, I'm just keeping to monitor as well, and screen record them as well, to see if we can catch anything. They're blasting our skies all the time, aren't they? Where we are in the UK, it was very strange today. The weather temperature went up to 20. Very warm. It's still now 17. And it's now 20:32 PM in the evening. Now, that's strange, isn't it, for March? Because we normally have March and then the April showers. May starts getting warmer. We've got really hot weather. We're supposed to be quite far away still from the sun. It's not summer yet, but it's very, very hot. Really hot today. As the sun's burning twice as hot now. This image as well, on another Mexico webcam, Cancun cam. And you can see this haze in the sky, this red reflection, on the opposite side. This is a morning cam, early in the morning, 7:42 AM. And this haze, what is this? I believe this to be a reflection from the binary twin. You see those cams in front of it. Just looks strange, doesn't it? Looks different. I mean, I've never seen this before. Here is this strange object in the sky as well. The sun is on the opposite side. There's something there on the screen. I've zoomed into it. This is on another Mexico cam. The La Paz cow. It seems to be moving. Can you see this on the screen? See, I just want to be able to put out different pieces of footage and zoom into different objects that are away from the sun on the opposite side, so we can rule out lens flare or aberrations or reflections and refractions. But they have been chemtrailing very heavily in front of our sun, in front of the simulator, all day today here in the UK. People being sprayed all the time. It's getting to a point now that they're just carrying on, and they just seem to be getting away with it all the time now, don't they? Nobody seems to get a grip on knowing what's going on up there in the sky. It's only the ones that are awake, as the subscribers and viewers, any other people that look at the skies and know there's huge differences in the heavens above now. I'm going to go to another image now. That is outstanding. I've zoomed into another object that's up there as well. You can see this. It actually moves away. It moves off and then flashes back on again. I'm going to move it. I'm going to press the image away, and you'll see this move away and disappear. Hold on. Hold on a second. I've just got to put it in the right spot. Hold on a second. Here it is. You'll see this now. There's the object there, okay? There it is there. And then it just disappears. Oh. You can see this, can't you? And it just comes into play and disappears. It just looks very strange, doesn't it? I'll zoom out so you can see the whole cam. This is the whole cam image. And I'll can you see this here? There it is again. Just very strange, isn't it? I just want to show you different pieces of objects, what we can find up there. There's that object again that's below the or near the sun, where you've got that simulator in front of now the sun. But that object's still lurking out there, isn't it? It just amazes me as well. If I just zoom out a little bit, I'm going to show you the land as well. The different colourings on the buildings, just very strange, very red. Can you see the colouring down here? Just very dark, isn't it, on the roofs? And for the time of the day as well. 12 AM. I mean, look at it. Sorry. I mean, it's just far too dark, isn't it? Really, it's getting ridiculous now. Here on this Playa La Audiencia cam in Mexico as well. Timestamp there is 1:50. And again, you can see those chemicals. It's all chemicals now, isn't it? Actual clouds are disappearing. Swarming our skies with these poisons, aren't they? Let's flip through the cam, see what we can find on here. Now I know this cam is yesterday, 29th. It's 6:48 AM, 02 seconds. Now the sun's not come up at all, but can you see on the screen here? This there's something behind there, isn't there? You can see those chems and the red reflection that's on the sea. Something is definitely behind here. They're cloaking this. I believe these objects are up here now. I mean, look at the land. It's just lit up like daylight, and then it gets darker. Something is coming up. It's just very interesting, this image. If I just show you this, okay, right, look at the timestamp, 6:32 a.m. And then you go across to the next image, and you've got that image there, again, with reflection, it's light source, and then it widescreen, so you can't see anything. This is what they do. And then the next image, 7:16, it's all disappeared. You've got a few chemicals there, this darkness on the horizon, this blueness on the other side, the opposite side, where the sun will be on the other side. This is the opposite side, this blue reflection. So this is coming up first, lighting the area, bluing up the skies. This is not our moon. No way can it be the moon. Look at the red reflection here. It sort of starts off dark, okay, dark skies. You can see some redness here, can't you? And then as the cam progresses, it's caught this. Now I believe if those chemicals weren't there, we would see an object, a large object here on the screen. They forgot to widescreen this image. And then they widescreen, and then it goes to this. Very strange, because the sun wouldn't be coming up on the opposite side, reflecting. It just wouldn't. It's too dark here. The sun doesn't come up at these times. Just interesting, isn't it? This is another image as well. You can see I've zoomed in. It's like a red object. The sun is on the left-hand side as that simulator's kicking in, and you can see this red object just here. Can you see that on the screen? Here's the side where the simulator and the sun is coming up. There's a red object just here. Anyway, I'm going to go now and do another video shortly for you. So respect to you all, and I will get back to you again shortly to see what else we can find on different cams across the world from Matt Rogers.
The sun is tilted by 6 degrees with respect to the plane of the planets. The reason for the non-zero solar obliquity has been a mystery since it was first discovered by Sir Richard Carrington in the mid-1800s. It turns out that Planet 9 can actually tilt the sun.
The fact that the sun is tilted, even if it's only by 6 degrees, the fact that the sun is tilted, you know, the sun is the most massive thing in our solar system by a huge margin, and it's oriented differently than everything else in the solar system. That is an incredibly strange phenomenon for which there really have not been that many explanations even attempted over the last 150 years. It's naturally explained by Planet 9 being exactly where we think Planet 9 is, which it's one of these mysteries that we think is now solved. That's been such a mystery that people haven't even really talked about it very much over the last 150 years because it's just been so difficult to think of why it is.
It has been known since the mid-1800s that the sun is tilted. Over the years, people have put forth various explanations for it. One possibility is that the sun was interacting with the protoplanetary disk via magnetic fields. It's also possible that the disk was just asymmetrical from the beginning. And it's also possible that the sun actually had a stellar companion a long time ago.
It was a moment of inspiration. Not all projects start out this way. Not all results really come. Some of them come, you know, it slowly dawns on you. We were sitting in Konstantin's office one afternoon, and we were actually thinking about a different problem entirely, which is how Planet 9 would interact with these very distant objects in the Kuiper belt that made us originally think that Planet 9 was there. And in just a moment, as we're thinking about it, and we're doing this with our hands, trying to think of directions things are going, I think we both realized at about the same time. It's like, oh, it's going to make the sun look tilted too. And it was very clear from the way we did our fingers that it was going to make an effect. What we didn't know until we did the calculations was how much of an effect was it going to have and in what direction was it going to go. But we knew it had to do something.
Planet 9 has been scattered out into the distant solar system. So because it has an orbital period that's so long, it has an enormous amount of angular momentum. right? As much almost as the rest of the solar system combined. So even though as an object it is not as massive as Jupiter, it has a huge lever bar. Okay? And using that lever bar, it can effectively torque the rest of the disk of the solar system by 6 degrees over the age of the sun.
Next, always next on our list is find the planet. We think we have it narrowed down to a pretty small patch in the sky that we have to look at. Small patch in the sky still means we need many, many nights on the telescope. We're pretty convinced that by maybe the end of next winter, we will have been able to cover enough sky that we'll actually be able to find it. When we find it, we both show that this hypothesis has been correct, we learn about it, but we also see how much of the sun, how it should have tilted the sun too, and see if this is the only thing that's been tilting the sun or if other things are around doing it. When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun. And we started looking at this and thinking, this must be either a coincidence or it's caused by something else. It can't be caused by a planet because that's crazy. There are no planets out there. I went from trying very hard to be skeptical that what we were talking about was true to suddenly thinking, oh, this actually might even be true.
So the object itself likely is more massive than the Earth, probably a little bit less massive than Neptune. It sits right in between that terrestrial to giant icy planet range. Its orbit, unlike the orbits of the known planets, is not nearly circular and planar. Instead, it is exceptionally wide, 20 times bigger than the orbit of Neptune. The orbital period of the Earth is, of course, 1 year. Right? The orbital period of Jupiter, the big player in our solar system, is about 10 years. The orbital period of this putative ninth planet is 20,000 years.
We have nothing like it in the solar system, so it's new for us. It is, however, the most common mass of planets that have been found around all of the other stars. People have always looked at all these other planets in this strange mass range and said, wow, I wonder what these are. I don't know what these are because we don't have anything like it in the solar system. Looks like maybe we do. I'm really hoping that as we announce this, people start a worldwide search to go find this ninth planet.
Again, solar stream is coming from the right. That's where the sun is. All the plasma in the blue is being blown backwards. That's a part of our protective shield here. 2 hours missing, 5:37, exactly the same time. Everything goes haywire. Come up to that point again. Everything's coming from the right. Bam. Now the black lines are our field lines. That's our magnetic field lines. Very important. They have now bent backwards at this point. People have talked about Planet X, Nibiru, Planet 7. If there's an object coming in, would it have orbiting planets? Would it have debris with it?
So this is some stuff that piqued my curiosity that I'm sharing with you here. All of this stuff will be linked. I suggest you go to the Caltech thing and watch the whole video. But anyways, I'm going to try and get through this quickly for you. Planet X to really cause mass extinction this month. This is April 9th, 2016. We're going to come down here. Thanks to science, we know that the larger the celestial body, the bigger its gravity, and consequently its ability to affect other, smaller bodies around it. We've known of Jupiter's crucial role in protecting us from asteroids for quite some time now, but the mysterious Nibiru could very well do the opposite, and some say there's good reason to believe it. We're going to come down here. A retired astrophysics professor from the University of Louisiana, Daniel Whitmire, is saying Nibiru has all but arrived to our neck of the woods, and that the destruction brought about by its gravitational trickery will take place this very April, as it's done numerous times before. Then we're going to come down here. Earlier this year, we started seeing space anomalies manifesting in a small group of objects, which have been taking on a peculiar orbit. Only something 10 times the size of the Earth, as theorized with Nibiru, could influence celestial objects in such a way, according to a study from Caltech. The anomaly was picked up on in the Kuiper Belt, which stretches all the way past Neptune, and it resurrected a 100-year debate. And then we're going to come over here, because again, this stuff just piqued my curiosity, and I wanted to share it with you. This is fire officials' reclaim report of possible meteor strike in Bowie. This is Bowie, Maryland. This was on April 25th, 2016. And we're going to come down here where this was put out by the Bowie Volunteer Fire Department. Possible meteorite strike behind Scarlet Oak Terrace causing a massive brush fire. And then we're going to come up here and see that when firefighters made it to the site, there was a large pit, which was 12 to 15 feet wide by 5 to 6 feet deep. And the fire spread to adjacent trees and brush and took approximately 15 firefighters 4 hours to extinguish. But again, they came out and said, nope, that should have never been put out. The Post should have never listed a meteorite as the cause. Okay. Okay, so now we're coming over here. Was it a meteor? Solving the mystery of New Jersey's tsunami buoy. April 25th, 2016. A tsunami warning device about 200 miles off the coast of New Jersey went into event mode over the weekend, but there were no giant waves threatening the shore. There was speculation that the drop could have been triggered by a meteor because the Lyrid meteor showers were active during the weekend. There also was speculation a submarine could have struck the buoy. So again, this stuff just piqued my curiosity, want to share. We're going to move here. Okay, so now here we are, coast to coast. This was from March 30th, 2016. In the first half of the show, retired investigative researcher Bob Fletcher talked about his contention that a rogue Planet X, or Nibiru, is coming our way, and the disastrous effects it could have for Earth. He first became suspicious that something was afoot when he discovered that massive amounts of money were being funneled out of the government and the Federal Reserve. He concluded that these funds were surreptitiously used for the construction and stocking of underground facilities that will house the elite and members of the New World Order, while the arrival of Planet X wreaks cataclysms upon the planet's surface. According to his sources, the knowledge of Planet X dates as far back as 1983. So again, I was just like, well, that's interesting. And so we're coming over here because I remember hearing about Rumsfeld talking about the missing $2.3 trillion that they couldn't track on September 10th. And we all know what happened on September 11th, 2001. Nobody was talking about the missing money. So I Googled just to see, and there was this one, which brought me over here. So here we are, debunked. Rumsfeld says 2.3 trillion missing from the Pentagon. In 2001, Donald Rumsfeld said, according to some estimates, we cannot track 2.3 trillion in transactions. This has been misinterpreted by many people as 2.3 trillion actually going missing. However, it's really just about the way the money was accounted for. So here's the original source. Go look at it for yourself, right? Okay. Oh, well, golly gee. Page not found. Okay, well, there was another link, right? Here, we can also see this. Huh. No input file specified, but yes, there was. So again, this was something, this has gone long, but it really, really piqued my curiosity. And I wanted to share it because, again, trying to put the pieces together. Here we are. He first became suspicious that something was afoot when he discovered that massive amounts of money were being funneled out of the government. And then, I don't know. This just made me go, that's interesting.
What we have discovered is that numerous features of the Kuiper Belt, a field of icy debris beyond the orbit of Neptune, can be understood if the solar system possesses an additional 9th planet that resides well beyond the orbits of the known planets.
When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet, also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun. And we started looking at this and thinking, this must be either a coincidence or it's caused by something else. It can't be caused by a planet because that's crazy. There are no planets out there. I went from trying very hard to be skeptical that what we were talking about was true to suddenly thinking, oh, this actually might even be true.
So the object itself likely is more massive than the Earth, probably a little bit less massive than Neptune. It sits right in between that terrestrial to giant icy planet range. Its orbit, unlike the orbits of the known planets, is not nearly circular and planar. Instead, it is exceptionally wide, 20 times bigger than the orbit of Neptune. The orbital period of the Earth is, of course, 1 year. Right? The orbital period of Jupiter, the big player in our solar system, is about 10 years. The orbital period of this putative ninth planet is 20,000 years.
We have nothing like it in the solar system, so it's new for us. It is, however, the most common mass of planets that have been found around all of the other stars. People have always looked at all these other planets in this strange mass range and said, wow, I wonder what these are. I don't know what these are because we don't have anything like it in the solar system. Looks like maybe we do. There are many telescopes on the Earth that actually have a chance of being able to find it. And I think that many people will be inspired to use their telescopes. I'm really hoping that as we announce this, people start a worldwide search to go find this ninth planet.
History shows us that it's a bad idea to consistently say we have now reached the end of the solar system and there's nothing beyond what we already know.
And all those people who are mad that Pluto is no longer a planet can be thrilled to know that there's a real planet out there still to be found.
Hace unos días la NASA anunció oficialmente el descubrimiento del llamado noveno planeta, para algunos reconocido como Hercóbulus, Nibiru o Planeta X. Como usted sabe, el primer registro de él aparece en tablas sumerias de más de 5.000, 6.000 años de antigüedad. Y hasta el día de hoy había sido una leyenda. Hoy sabemos que efectivamente existe un cuerpo masivo, muy grande, muy posiblemente del tamaño de los grandes planetas de nuestro sistema solar, que tiene una órbita alrededor del Sol, se dice de 20.000 años. Todavía hay mucho que aprender y de saber de este misterio, ya que hasta el día de hoy no se le ha logrado fotografiar. Aquí le presento la investigación de Fernando Correa.
Un equipo de astrónomos afirman tener evidencias de la existencia del noveno planeta. Nadie lo ha observado. Sin embargo, se ha logrado determinar que se localizaría 20 veces más lejos que Neptuno. Sería entre 10 y 20 veces más grande que la Tierra. Se piensa que es muy oscuro y que tiene una órbita muy alargada dando una vuelta al Sol cada 20.000 años. Estos cálculos son posibles gracias a las observaciones de las órbitas de 14 planetoides más allá de Neptuno, en el cinturón de Kuiper. La posición, dirección y órbitas de estos planetoides no se pueden entender a menos que exista un enorme planeta muy masivo que determinaría la posición de los planetoides. Sería el quinto en tamaño después de Júpiter, Saturno, Urano y Neptuno. Esta es la investigación del noveno planeta que está siendo relacionado con el llamado planeta oscuro, conocido como Nibiru o Hercolobus, el planeta bíblico. El 20 de enero del 2016, astrónomos del Caltech de Estados Unidos, Mike Brown y Konstantin Batygin, anunciaron que tenían evidencias de la existencia real del noveno planeta.
What we have discovered is that numerous features of the Kuiper belt, a field of icy debris beyond the orbit of Neptune, can be understood if the solar system possesses an additional ninth planet that resides well beyond the orbits of the known planets.
De manera que el campo gravitacional y la dirección de las órbitas de los planetoides en el cinturón de Kuiper se explican por la existencia de un noveno planeta. Mike Brown en 2003 descubrió el planetoide Sedna. En 2005, los planetoides Eris y Makemake. Y en 2016 explica por qué existe el noveno planeta.
When we looked at the outer solar system, we realized that while most of the very distant objects, these objects beyond Neptune, beyond Pluto, most of these objects, they all go around the sun and they're all sort of pointing off in all different directions. But the most distant objects all swing out in one direction in a very strange way that shouldn't happen. And we realized that the only way we could get them to all swing in one direction is if there is a massive planet also very distant in the solar system, keeping them in place while they all go around the sun.
Aunque existen evidencias de la existencia del noveno planeta, aún no ha sido observado. Sin embargo, ya se está buscando con los mayores telescopios del mundo. Se calcula deberá ser observado los próximos 5 años. La confirmación de su descubrimiento seguramente resolverá el enigma del planeta oscuro llamado Nibiru o Hercolobus, el planeta bíblico conocido como Ajenjo, un planeta que se describe en la tablilla de Berlín de las crónicas de los sumerios. El noveno planeta está siendo relacionado